when people move and they arrive in a new land, which is completely new to them, that journey sometimes takes years. I have seen children who have been in refugees camp on a journey just to travel from their countries in Middle East to come to Europe, and they have been for 5 or 6 years just in a camp, in different camps. That will create a life gap in their skills that they need in order to survive, in order to step on their own feet.
Hello everyone, welcome to SpearheadTalk Peace and Development Editions. So, my name is Gat, I'm the moderator, and now we're going to talk with one of the most beautiful guests that I have ever interviewed. Please welcome Anahita.
Thank you. My name is Anahita Mahmoudi. I'm from Iran, and I left Iran when I was 19 to study abroad. I went to Malaysia. I studied in Malaysia for 3 years. I studied computer science, and I was in Kuala Lumpur. And the university that I studied was affiliated with University of London. So for my final year, I moved to the UK to continue my study, and where I currently live and work.
Your research is about social integration through digital experience. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so could you explain me more about why social integration? What is it exactly?
I work in the technology sector as a digital consultant. And that's because I study computer science. And alongside of my career, over the last few years, I have also been a humanitarian activist, if you call it. And that's based on an experience that I had a few years ago. A few years ago, I entered the humanitarian field quite accidentally and naively. It was the 2015 European migrant crisis, where a lot of refugees, asylum seekers were coming from Eastern countries to Europe. And I remember watching the news and thinking, this is really disturbing and I need to do something. I'm not skilled into humanitarian disaster responses. My background is completely something different, but it was my sense of a duty of care and social intelligence that was guiding me to do something. And I went as a volunteer to Iraq, the refugee camp in Iraq in 2015. And I remember that experience being in the camp. It was the most intense experience of observing the duality of our time. It was the duality between war and peace, the split between East and West, the privilege, non-privilege.
Can you tell us, to the audience, what exactly is the integration from foreigners or even the refugees or even asylum seekers who move into another country? What is it about?
Sure. It's a very good question, and I have to say it relates to my personal experience because I migrated myself, not as a refugee, but I for a different reason. I left East or Middle East to come all the way to West, and we have to look into when people move, whether by choice or by force, they leave everything behind. They leave their home, their countries, their family, their cultures, in some cases their identities, and they arrive in a new land, which is completely new to them, and they have to build a new life. Now, you can look at it from a couple of angles. One thing is that that journey sometimes takes years in case of refugees, asylum seekers. I have seen children who have been in refugees camp on a journey just travel from their countries in Middle East to come to Europe, and they have been for 5 or 6 years just in a camp, in different camps. So they are missing, that will create a life gap in their skills that they need in order to survive, in order to step on their own feet. So that's one element. The other element is that they are in a new country, with a new culture, with new normality that they don't know. No one has ever taught them. Social integration becomes a very important and essential steps when you physically move from one part of the world into another part. And my initiative initially was around education. So what my objective was, how can I enhance the learning experience of those who have been affected by war and conflict and they fled their home countries. One of my learnings was that education without social inclusion or integration is not going to work. Because if you're learning about a life skills, you need to be able to apply it into a society. And when people will move, when they change country, that's one of the hardest challenges is that if they can integrate onto the society that is new to them.
So there might be like many ways in order to get included or integrated for someone who going to other lands.
Yeah.
But why are you interested in the digital experience?
I have seen the benefit of technology in different aspects of life. So what I do as a digital consultant, we are looking into improving people's experiences through digital experiences. And let's face it, with today's technology, advancement of the science and tech, we can do many things. So one of my initial thinking was that we should be able to use technology to solve some of the humanitarian crises. And that's why I tell you that I was really naive when I started in this field, because I had ideas that, you know, we send men to moons. Why can't we just, you know, we are that advanced in terms of what we can do everything. Why can't you fix the humanitarian crisis? But when it comes to humanity and justice, the complexity of this area is very different. Because of my background, because of the skills that I had in the technology field, I was trying to bring that as a way, as a media, to enhance those experiences. But then one of my other learnings was that when you go with the technology-based solutions, your solution is limited to minimum requirements, such as electricity, internet connectivity, accessibility to devices, security, that are not always available, especially in the countries or in a camp situation. And whereas human-based activities or solutions will be more effective in order to make an impact within those societies. So I started from that angle. One of my early projects was design a digital solution for refugees' children in camp. I partner with a tech company. I launched a campaign. I designed a solution, a pack, and I took that to a refugee camp in Greece, where I was experimenting. I was running a pilot, and I learned a lot through that experience. But also it helped me to iterate my thinking and to redesign my solution. We in consultancy, we have something we say, you always have to iterate your solution, meaning that you start with something small, you try it, learn from it, iterate it. So I think I'm still in that process of trying different things, learn from it, and then adopt the learning so something else could come out of it.
Speaking like of your digital access, they're like from help from humanitarian aid, right? Who else is in the part of the digital humanitarian aid, like access to device or even internet connection during the conflict zone? Is there any other actors?
Yeah, so many. Over the last couple of years, I have come across with so many people, young activists, ambitious people who are working on different initiatives, focusing on digital, focusing on data. I really believe there is no solution, but the solution that could work in different contexts is the one that is based on collaboration of multiple bodies. And some of the example that we see more, for example, in West, in the UK, there is an initiative run by an NGO, completely volunteering based. They are training refugees or people from vulnerable communities how to become a programmer. And through that free education, those people are able to find job in the tech industry, and then they can sort of, have a better life in where they are. There is another US-based initiative where they're trying to teach math online through some gamifications, some online lessons, but specifically for the children who have not been in school educations.
Seems like there are some difficulties, and I think that many parts of the world, the host country, their own population might be anti-refugees or someone migrated in.
Yeah.
So how can we get over from it? How can the social integration problems or even the migration problems can get support from the local? Do you have any suggestion or any idea?
So we're living in a time that the number of displaced people and refugees has increased in a way that we have never seen it before, all right? And we know that then we are also going to face more environmental crisis, shortage of food, the conflict doesn't stop in Middle East, in Syria, so more people are coming, or they're going to different countries. And it's a challenge it's a really one of the most complex challenges for all the countries who are receiving these refugees or asylum seekers. For any volunteer or any NGO who has been in any of these camps, they know that the way they are run and managed is a sign of dehumanization. The way these people are living, unfortunately, is a tragedy. So the question is that, how can we have better camps? You build a community. Involve these people in building their communities. Talk with them, understand what is their need and how they can help themselves. Upskill them, empower them, give them job, make things them that they can be useful. There's so much talent and skills. When it comes to refugee camp, you look at it, people are trapped in it, but actually they have so much intelligent talent that they can build. They don't have to suffer in that way. Let people to do something for their own good. And then the other thing is on the topic of a social inclusion, which we talk about. For those people who are in the camp, again, they're isolated, and sometimes these camps are in remote areas, quite far away. And when people live there for years and years, not being in a society, so they're never going to learn, or they're never going to know what is happening in that country. For example, reaching out to the local school, bring their students to the camp to do something for the children of that camp. Or the camp was in an agricultural land. So they reach out to the local farmers saying that, we have these people, can you come teach them how to grow vegetables? And again, it's that way of thinking that you teach someone how to fish. Don't give them the fish because they're going to be hungry again tomorrow if you give them fish. And this is really, in order to have any sustainable solution for the refugees, they really need to tap into the existing in-house skills with what is around them to build up their life.
This would be our last question.
Okay.
So do you want to say anything to our audience who are or the refugees right now who is now suffering or now needs to flee from their own motherlands and suffering from the integration?
Well, firstly, don't take it as an advice. I don't think I'm anybody. I'm nobody to give an advice. But I will share an experience. As someone who have moved from East to West or Middle East to West, when in our time, there's a lot of emphasis on success, advancement, and modernization. It's important to stay true and not forget your own traditions, because your traditions will tell you who you are, what is your stories, and the ways of living, surviving, and striving through history. And to those people who are going through a very tough life, and my heart goes to all of those people who have to leave their home countries, their families, and they're living a tough life. Do not give up. And in this world, there is someone that will care. And there is someone that will help you. And that's what we can hope for.
Yeah, so thank you very much, Anahita, for joining us today.
Thank you.
So that's all for our episode. Time for today. Bye-bye.